is WLUW Chicago 88.7 FM. And this is Sunday Morning with Bill Morton. We have with us on WLUW Brad Markus, spelled Markus. He is interested in the healing and also UFOs. Hello, Brad. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Brad, first of all, how did the healing come first, or did the UFOs come first?
Well, it's UFOs. The healing is part of just life in general, but the conferences I spoke at, one of the sub-themes was healing, but it's mainly about the unknown and extraterrestrial existence, that aliens, so-called, or extraterrestrials really exist in our ancestors of ancient humanity. That's why I'm really interested in that field.
And what is the proof? Is there something in our DNA? What is the proof that the aliens are part of our part of human ancestry?
Well, part of it will be proven in the DNA, which I think they're working on that now. But also the mysteries of ancient buildings, which was covered by Erich von Däniken and Chariots of the Gods, that there's remnants of ancient advanced civilizations. It's how did they really exist? Also, people's experience of meeting different beings. Now they're called extraterrestrials, but even spiritual beings or so-called gods that were encountered by people in ancient times. It's like we had a connection to the universe, and these beings would manifest to them back in those days, and now they're manifesting as extraterrestrials.
So in other words, when people maybe saw an extraterrestrial in ancient times, they didn't understand it as someone from a different planet or from somewhere else other than Earth, and they assumed that it was God. Is that correct?
Right, or gods, advanced beings, and a lot of time they had a message to leave. But there's also an idea that some of them were the teachers of humanity.
What did they teach humanity?
Probably a lot of the arts and sciences that we have supposedly developed over time from primitive humans were given to us by these beings, which are ancestors of us. There's legends of Atlantis and Lemuria, which were lost continents, where we had the advanced knowledge and somehow we lost it or we misused it, which is evidence to ancient so-called nuclear wars that happened. For instance, what Sodom and Gomorrah wasn't a punishment by God. It was some kind of something that these beings did in ancient times that caused the destruction. It wasn't because God was angry with people.
So was it the beings that wreaked havoc on Earth, or was it the people that misused what the beings gave them?
Both. There were some negative beings that interfered, and then there were some positive beings that were helping humanity. I'm learning this lately in my studies of extraterrestrial life and the different information that other people have received that resonates with what I believe is the truth.
And what indications, like what kind of proof is there that aliens caused the destruction in Sodom and Gomorrah?
Maybe there isn't proof, but maybe there is. A writer named Zecharia Sitchin investigated this many years ago, and he talked about a 12th planet, Nibiru, which, according to Elena Danaan, is somebody who I research about and who has brought forth a lot of knowledge. She says Nibiru was a spaceship. and it had to do with the so-called Anunnaki, which were some of the ancestors of humanity, that they genetically upgraded and downgraded humanity, because there's two factions, which might account for the mythology of God and the devil. It's just a universal thing that's played out by different people or beings. It's still being played out right now between the different forces in the world right now. All these wars that are going on that are unnecessary, in my opinion. Back of what's happening are these forces.
And so in other words, there are forces that want to destroy the earth or destroy humanity, and forces that want to save, is it the earth or humanity? Which one or both?
Yeah, both. Well, maybe they want the earth to keep it in control. But yeah, I believe we'll win, but it's a lifelong, it's a long process that's going on right now. According to some of the information I've heard, there's this Galactic Federation of worlds of different civilizations, and when we upgrade our frequency and become more harmonious as humans, then we can become we can interact with them more. They're apparently not allowed to interact with us because we're not advanced enough right now.
So when you say upgrade our frequency, does that mean that we evolve, and then when we become more harmonious with the universe, then we have more power?
Yeah, we'll have more power, but we'll also have more direct contact and interaction with extraterrestrial beings, many of them which are human.
What do you mean by, so the extraterrestrials have human form, or are they actually human?
There are human ones, but there are other ones called reptilian, and there's also the Greys, which were supposedly, what they did is they couldn't deal with their emotions, so they did something where they lost their emotions. And I don't know if you've heard of the phenomenon of abductions, where people were taken out of their bed or out of their home.
Yes.
And they were tested or whatever by these beings.
For what purpose again? What was the end
Well,
goal?
it has something to do with hybridization of humans, which goes back to the control.
And so when did this start? Did this start, these abductions? Were they happening in ancient times, or was it only recently was something that the humans did?
The main history of abductions is recently, since the 1940s, which connects to Roswell, which a lot of people know about. There may have been abductions in ancient times, but it wasn't called that. There's always been what people call demonic or hauntings. These kind of things connect to that, which is something I've researched also. Some people will say that aliens are just hauntings or spirits, but it's actually beings from other places.
So in other words, the energies in, let's say, at a place where maybe someone died or something, then we think of it as a ghost. So is that the haunting from the person who died, or is it an alien taking advantage of the situation?
Well, most hauntings and regular hauntings are just humans. Every haunting and every spiritual thing isn't necessarily extraterrestrial.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a separate field, but they're connected because there's similar phenomenon. I'm not 100% expert on this, and there's a lot of different views. Even within the UFO or ET community, there's different viewpoints. I bet a lot of your listeners are not familiar with this subject, but maybe some are. It's trending lately because more UFOs are being seen. Plus, supposedly the government is going to release files that they're hiding, or they just haven't revealed. So I believe there's a long-term gradual disclosure project happening, and some of the people behind the scenes in the Earth Alliance military know about it. I can't prove that this is true, but this is what I've heard from my sources. So.
And are your sources researchers or from the government or?
Most of them are some researchers, but people who have actually had experience with aliens themselves or extraterrestrials. I like the term ETs or extraterrestrials better than aliens.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and when they do haunt the place, and you said that it's similar to a ghost haunting. Is it on account of the? You said that you don't know about it that much, but just briefly, is it on account of their energy? The energy that they use is similar to what energy the ghost used to manifest.
Yeah, that's possible. It's a different vibration that we can't see in the physical, but exists. Mm-hmm. It's a different frequency. It's a different plane. But it's also physically exists. Actually, everything that comes in the physical is first, like a person has a thought. In that thought, they're accessing another plane or another dimension, and they're bringing it into the physical. Say they have a plan for a building, and they sketch it out, and then it ends up being built. Everything is coming from these other places, this other vibration, this other world, so to speak. So it's very complex, yes. And I appreciate your questions.
When humans think, is that energy?
Yes, it is. It definitely is. Everything is coming from that. It's our bodies have an energy aspect. Besides the physical, there's the energy. Like when you die, your body's still like, the body still has some living cells in it, but once you actually die and you stop breathing, your actual who you are leaves that physical body. So that you really aren't the body. The body is just something you live in. When you're first born, it comes into you when you're first born, and then it leaves you when you die or when you pass out of the body. I believe your soul goes on, which is something people are researching.
Mm-hmm. And when the aliens enter this plane and manifest themselves using an energy similar to hauntings, what is their goal to be here?
Well, the positive ones want us to know that we're not alone in the universe, and that we're part of a galactic community, an intergalactic community also. It's going to be found out very soon. Even there was two people that this Galactic Federation of Worlds, Hiram Ashed from Israel, admitted that there was a Galactic Federation, and somebody from Canada also mentioned it. These are official people that talked about the Galactic Federation. But if you Google it, they're going to say, oh, this is fictitious. But people like my friend Elena Danan, she says she's the emissary of the Galactic Federation. They have a lot of facts and a lot of evidence to prove that it's true.
So what does Elena say about the Galactic Federation? What do the Federation think about the human beings? What is their opinion of us?
Oh, that they want us to raise our frequency so that they want us to be part of the Galactic Federation, basically.
So in other words, they can't force it. We have to evolve by ourselves. Then what do they slip us any resources to advance faster? Do they help us in any way to advance faster, or we have to do everything on our own?
Well, I believe there are resources that they offer.
Like
if
what?
you investigate her books, I guess you can find it there. What would they offer? Well, I don't know how to answer it.
That's okay.
But they're offering things. They definitely are.
Are they offering us a seat at the table, or
Yes, they are. I believe so.
so you were at a conference, and was it all UFOs, or was there any healing there as well?
Oh, definitely at the one I was at, and most of them have healing technologies, which connects to what the Galactic Federation is doing. They're going to introduce healing technologies that were developed in outer space. They're going to introduce them to Earth gradually. People call it med beds. So it fixes who we are, our whatever parts of us get sick. It adjusts the DNA. And the reason this happened, kind of going by Elena's data, the reason it's happening is because Ea is one of the Anunnaki. He brought back to Earth, to our galaxy, the original template of our DNA. And they're going to use that for the med beds to bring this healing to humanity.
What you talk about is very similar to a gene therapy. Is gene therapy developed entirely by humans, or were these aliens somehow involved in starting it?
Maybe they were. I don't know a lot about gene therapy, but maybe the people who were working on it were getting inspired unknowingly by extraterrestrials or just a higher consciousness.
So this healing that they want us to eventually have, is it healing to lead better lives, or healing to live forever? Do you have any idea? Does Elena talk about that?
It could be live forever, but live a longer lifespan. There's evidence that humans lived longer lifespans in ancient times, and at some point they were made to live a shorter life.
Yeah, I've read the Bible before, and it said that so and so lived to 500 years, so and so lived to 700 years, and so was that the actual years, or I wasn't sure if it was actual years or if it was like the way that they calculate time at that point was different from how we envision time now.
Right. I think it was actual years. I think it was. So it has to do with this Ea, Enki, and Enlil. Enlil was the negative faction, or the being that represented the negative faction of Anunnaki, who limited our DNA and made our life shorter. This is just part of there's going to be more things revealed. And there's other people that have different parts of the story, which I may not know all the information about or be able to talk about it all in one interview. But I feel like we're covering a lot of ground here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and when people used to live long, and why make them live shorter? Was it on account of something that they did, or was it something that they humans chose, and that made them downfall?
It could be what they did also, but it's also what this Enlil did. Mm. But maybe he was given the right to do that because of something we did. I believe there's a lot of the answers we don't know yet and will be revealed in time.
Mm-hmm. And when people started thinking about all of this, was there any revelation that caused this? Like Enlil, how did people start talking about him? Was it the aliens that shared it with the humans? And do you know when Enlil appeared, and when was it in ancient texts?
It is an ancient text in Sumeria, which is also known as Babylon or Assyria, Acadia. it's an interpretation of the texts about there's the Enuma Elish, which is called the Seven Tablets of Creation. There's the Genesis of Eridu, and there's the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is the Atrahasis also. It has some very similar stories as that are in the Bible also. And these texts are older, but there's some debates about it because people that support the Bible totally will say, well, this is the only truth. And there's other writings, that esoteric writings that people maybe channeled that have some information also. And then there's legends of Atlantis, the lost continent in the Atlantic. And then there's Lemuria, which was in the Pacific Ocean. Plus, there's also these giant structures all over the earth. Like, how were they built? There's evidence that we had giant humans that were bigger than the humans now. My friend Brad Olson, he has the same name as me, he has investigated this also. All these things fit into the story of what you're asking me about today.
It seems as if there are always giants mentioned in the ancient texts.
Yes.
And so these buildings that you're talking about, were they built like with higher ceilings and to accommodate the larger beings? And is that what's caused
a lot of them had giant stones. It's like, how did they really move them without machines?
Uh-huh.
Could they really move them with like the Great Pyramid is really big and the stones are big, and they said slaves built it with pulleys and levers and wood, but it just seems like that would take like hundreds of years. And it could be the people had advanced technology that we don't know of, or it could be that they were helped by extraterrestrials, or it could be that maybe the slaves did it, but it just seems hard that it seems hard to believe for me that they did that in a short a time, that it would take hundreds of years, seemingly, but I could be wrong.
Well, if there were giants and they could manipulate the physical objects, then maybe the pyramids were built by giants that were building what we would be building a Lego pyramid, and they were just using stones to build the pyramid.
Yes, that's very possible, because there were giants here. They found giant skulls, and there's pictures of them. And I've heard that some museums didn't want to show these to the public, or they would actually throw them away or bury them.
Oh. Is it the governments that want these bones to be hidden, the skulls, or?
Probably. I'm not 100% sure, but probably.
Doesn't seem to be that threatening. What would they be trying to hide?
They don't want people to know this information, like what I'm sharing now. So they want people to fit into whatever narrative or story that is generally talked about or believed, because society has to function. So they don't want something to disrupt society. If people change their beliefs and understanding, they might rebel or they might not go along with it, and everything is kind of connected to the system. And you see how it broke down a little bit during what happened in 2020. So.
Mm-hmm. And what was the conference again that you were? Could you name some of those conferences that you spoke at?
I spoke mainly at Alien Events, which is also called 5D Events, or Biomed Expo, founded by Saeed David Farman, the New Humanity Movement. I like this conference. There's other ones that are more popular that I haven't been to. Contact in the Desert, Star Knowledge Conference are really famous. New Life Expo. There's also was one in Mount Shasta, The Promise Revealed, founded by Rob Potter, who passed away last year. I spoke at that once. And I haven't spoken at it, but there's Galactic Spiritual Informers Conference, founded by Danny Henderson, who's a woman. And that's where I met Elena Danan. She was one of the featured speakers, so I really like her. That event, too. Those are some of the events I've attended or I know about. There's others that I don't know the names, I can't remember. But I'm really kind of new at speaking at these events, but I've been following the field pretty intensely since 2016.
And is that when there were more of these conferences? When did these conferences develop? About
Probably in the 1990s, but it increased 2012 when they were talking about they were talking about the new calendar cycle. 2012.
What is the new calendar cycle?
Well, it connects to the Mayan calendar, was saying that the time ended. People were saying there was going to be some new. I think it was just more a shift in consciousness than something actually happening. But according to the Mayan calendars, there was an ending of documentation there.
In 2012?
Yes, and a lot of people talked about it. You can look it up online, and you'll see what was happening then. But I don't know I think the conferences started a lot in the late 1990s or early 20. There was something, press conference in 2001 or 2002, and one of the people that I have followed, Dr. Michael Sala, he actually testified at that event, and so did Dan Willis, who's also researching the evidences for alien presence here on Earth.
You are listening to WLUW 88.7 FM, Chicago Sound Alliance, broadcasting live from the Water Tower campus of Loyola University. We have with us at WLUW Brad Markus, a UFO researcher and speaker. Brad, so it's since the explosion of conferences started in the 1990s, was it because of the turn of the century, the turn of the millennia that caused it, or was it something else?
That probably popularized it, but there's been people always since the 40s, 1940s, talking about alien contact. And I think it became more popular over time. It kind of correlated with New Age spirituality. But there's people, Alex Collier's instance, he's been talking about his contact with the Andromedans since 1990s, or maybe the 1980s even. But back then it was considered really fringe or really something. It's become more and more accepted or spoken of over time, and especially in the last 5-7 years, maybe even especially a lot this year and last year.
So have all these conferences led to the government saying that they'll release the UFO reports and UFO footage? Do you know if that caused it? Or?
I don't think the conferences caused it. It's just, I don't know.
I meant the increase in knowledge and increase in interest.
Yeah, maybe. It's very popular online.
And what about the healing part? You said that some of these, one of the conferences, did it happen at Sedona as well?
Yes, his conference is like a 2-part conference. Part of it, they feature healing modalities and technologies, and they have a area where people are demonstrating their technology. You can try, say there's a hyperbaric chamber or something you can lay on and you get some kind of healing benefit from it. One of them was called Theraphi, Theraphi. I highly recommend it. Founded by Paul Harris, and there's a few other people that promote that. They weren't at the conference this year, but they were there last year. There's also this hyperbaric chamber. My friend Karen Calabrese, who's a raw food vegan chef in Chicago, she would have that at her health spa, this hyperbaric chamber.
So the people would stay in the chamber for about how long? Because that's like
probably
the
a half an hour. They were demonstrating it at the conference this year too. I didn't get in it because I was busy with the other things I was doing. But.
And when these as Sedona, so Sedona is known for its healing. In what ways? Is it the energy or is it the surroundings?
It's the surroundings, the energy, they call them vortexes. There's 6 or 7 of them. And I felt it there too. Also, Mount Shasta has a similar energy.
What? Yeah. Could you describe that energy to us?
Just you feel more in tune. You feel more vibrant. You feel like there's something that you can see it, but you can't see it. You can feel it. But people have had more direct experiences. Even when I was at Mount Shasta, I felt like there were some beings looking at me. I couldn't see them like I'm seeing you, but I could tell they were observing me.
Could you tell why they were observing you?
Because I feel connected to them. It's called Telos Inner Earth Civilization.
So do you mean that they live?
That's in Mount Shasta.
Do they live underneath the earth, like in the center of the earth?
Yes, that's what the story is.
And so you felt it. Did you speak with your fellow visitors there? Did they feel it too? Do some people feel it and some people don't, or does everybody feel it?
Other people have, but when I was there, I was basically by myself on the mountain. So, or not all the way up, but part way up.
And so did you feel any healing? Did you feel better after
Yes,
the visit?
I did feel better.
And do you still remember how long it lasted?
Not exactly, but whenever I go up there, I think about them like that. Maybe they're there, because a couple of times I felt like they were looking at me.
Oh, okay. So in other words, you were there many times, but they.
Yeah, I've been to Mount Shasta a few times since 2020, on the mountain.
And some of the times you didn't feel them observing you.
Right. Only a couple times I saw or felt them observing me. But since I knew about it, it was in the back of my mind. And just being in that elevation, you have to go and check it out yourself.
Yes.
Any mountain does feel different, but there's something about Mount Shasta is one of the best ones that I've experienced.
When you felt them observing you, were you in a different frame of mind, a special frame of mind that was unlike the other times that you were there?
A little bit, about the same though.
So you're a seeker. You're more open to all this.
Yes.
And so how did it start in the beginning? Were you a seeker? Were you interested in this all your life, or what?
I always been interested in space or in things that were real beautiful, things you couldn't see. Curious about it.
Since you were about how old?
10, maybe.
Was that when you started reading, or was it some television show that
I
inspired you?
started reading more in the 1970s when I was in high school, but I mean, as a little child, I was looking into stars, so, but I didn't read a lot of books about that, but it was fascinating. And then in the night, maybe when I graduated high school, I started reading a lot of mystical things like different religions, different spiritual paths. Then I also investigated and the Bible and the Christian field also.
So you read a lot of the ancient texts like the Gilgamesh and what other ancient texts have you studied? And
Some like Bhagavad Gita, which is India, Buddhist a little bit, even some Native American spirituality, South American. Also, India, there's something called the Secret Doctrine, which is Helena Blavatsky, where she's talking about ancient Indian texts.
And about how old were you when you started studying these?
17, when I really opened up to things. And then I went through a phase where I was studying mostly just the Bible, but it was still in the back of my mind that I feel like connected to the universe, that all these different texts and different seeking, they all kind of connect together. And that's why what I'm doing now, I feel like I'm back home. But I had to consider all of the paths as having some significance to life on Earth, to people's destination, to what they want, what I want.
When you must have been a really good student. In high school, you were reading all this, and you must have been very studious and open and a good reader.
Yes, but I have difficulty with technical things like math. My courses on math weren't as good. I didn't have as good of grades, but it was still interesting to me.
Did you ever connect the math with the aliens? Because like numbers and energy, it is connected with the numbers.
I definitely believe that and know it to be true. But I had difficulty actually doing the equations, so, or figuring out the logic of it. I would tend to be more abstract, but I would be able to connect things, like the idea of synchronicity. Say I'm thinking of you, Trudy, and then you call me randomly. Those type of things, that's what the type of things I investigate and I'm interested in. The interconnectedness of the universe and us as humans, that we can connect in ways that we don't know about. And I believe we're going to develop that more and more.
Well, if it's synchronicity that's going to become more developed, it seems that as if humans are going to be more interconnected with each other because of synchronicity, or synchronicity develops because of that interconnectedness.
Yes, exactly. Like it's a different language. Like other people speak languages that I don't know the language, but there might be some other way of communicating. I like to learn all languages, but you can only learn so many, but there's other ways of communicating.
How many languages do you know?
I only really know English well. I've spoken a little Spanish, a little Arabic. I want to learn Russian, German. There's some other languages I want to learn. I heard some people speaking Malaysian the other day, and it just sounded like something I could relate to.
When you spoke of synchronicity, that kind of rings through with me, because recently, like in the last 3 weeks or so, I work in retail, and when I think of a customer, and then in about maybe the next day or 2 days later, they're there. It has been happening very frequently. Is it happening more often now?
Yeah, I believe it is, but it's always been. I think people are more aware of it now. There is a general increase in energy on Earth right now, and things are happening faster. There's something called shadow work where things have to come up to be dealt with. Say you have a problem in your life and you haven't dealt with it, it's going to come up to be worked on.
Mm-hmm. And you said that there's more energy on the Earth. What do you mean by that?
It's maybe that it's increasing its vibration, or maybe.
So we don't know if it seems as if what Einstein says is true. Energy just transforms into different forms. It doesn't go away. However, is it on account of people being using the energy differently, and then it seems as if it's increasing?
Yes, I think so.
That is interesting. Well, Brad Markus, if our listeners want to learn more about you and what you're interested in, and healing and the UFOs, where should they go?
You can go to my Facebook, Brad Markus, Markus. I'm developing a website eventually. I have an Instagram account. It says Intergalactic Research. So the other thing, I do research about jazz music and this musician, Sun Ra, who said he was from another planet. That's another thing that really got me interested. When I first heard his music, it was so fascinating. And I delved into it, and I'm still listening to Sun Ra all the time. And I'm planning to write a book about him. His band still performs all over the world, and the band leader is 101, Marshall Allen. I highly recommend everyone to listen to the music of Sun Ra.
And when did the Sun Ra come out, in the 70s?
No, his first releases were in 1956.
Oh.
And he recorded from 1956 till 1992. He passed away in 93, but the band still exists. They still travel all over the world.
And what kind of music do they play?
But it's jazz, experimental. It has a mixture of swing, experimental, big band, keyboards, percussion, dancing, costumes. He called it the Cosmo Drama.
Oh.
I'm very inspired by Sun Ra.
I did look into it yesterday, and I found a 1970s movie about an hour and 21 minutes long, The End of the Planet Earth, and it had all these elements, but it was tied together with a storyline.
Space is the Place?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. There are documentaries about him, but he made that movie and he wanted to kind of bring his message forth in the movie. It didn't become really popular till after he left the planet. But.
Oh, and the Sun Ra music, I've listened to a lot of it last night. Does it have lyrics, or is it mostly, it sounds very jazzy?
Yeah, there are lyrics. He had theme songs which were sung very well by June Tyson, one of the vocalists. But he would sing also, and he would recite things. Mm. And he wrote poems. He has a book called The Immeasurable Equation of his poems.
Immeasurable Equation?
Yes.
Oh.
I have poems coming out, the Infinity series of poems based on his work. Oh. And I was also going to mention Alton Abraham, who helped found Saturn Records, Sun Ra's record label. Mm-hmm. That Alton Abraham had a big part to do with what Sun Ra was talking about and doing. What else I was going to say? Anita Abraham is keeping Infinity Incorporated going, which was founded by Sun Ra and Alton Abraham.
Okay, and how did the two of them connect, Alton Abraham and Sun Ra?
Oh, they connected in Washington Park because they lived in the same area and they had a lot of the same interests. They developed a kind of underground research group, and they would pass their pamphlets out in Washington Park in the 1950s.
Oh. Washington Park in what state?
The the south side of Chicago.
Really? That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. So it's Chicago based then. Okay.
Oh yes, yep. But
Wow.
he moved to New York in 1961 and Philadelphia in 1968, which is their home base right now.
Ah. Okay. Well, we'll have to
We'll-
talk about that in a future interview.
Okay, thank you so much for having me. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Brad Markus.
Okay.
This is WLUW.